I'm Bob Hallmark in studio today. Let's talk about airport managers. Now, you're probably saying, why would you be talking about that? Because we've usually never profiled an airport manager before, but there's a story behind this that I want you all to hear. Now, I've done lots of stories over the years with East Texas Regional Airport, and I've also worked a lot with the managers that were there. Our current manager now joins us from Nevada. He is Max Tovar, and Max has been the manager for about 6 months, 8 months, somewhere in there. But the reason he joins me from Nevada is I'd like to introduce Master Sergeant Max Tovar with the United States Air Force Reserves. He joins us right now. Hey, Max, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
All right. Listen, it's a lot of people that probably don't know your background, but we're going to explain what an MOS is and why that's important. But let's talk a little bit about your service. Now, you are an in-country war veteran. You might want to tell everybody about that. When did you serve?
So, two deployments that I had was in 2011. That was to Kandahar, Afghanistan, and then 2013 was to Bagram, Afghanistan.
Okay. Your MOS, let's go ahead and explain to everybody who's not military what that is. This is your designated specialty or duty. Max, go ahead and tell everybody what your MOS was.
So, for my first deployment, I was basically an aircraft mechanic or a maintainer. I was with the A-10s for most of my career. Recently, in 2015, at the end of 2015, after another part-time deployment, I was swapped over to the B-52s. So I've worked on both A-10s and B-52s. Currently working on B-52s.
Now, it's fair to say, the Air Force motto is keep them flying, but it's fair to say that's what you do. That's what you did, and that's what you continued to do is to work on these very, very intricate aircraft and keep them flying.
Yes, sir. I'm a small part of the whole process. It's a small part, but part of it. So without engines, aircraft doesn't fly. But without hydraulics or any of the other electricians, aircraft doesn't fly. So we're a small part. Even within my unit, I'm not entirely the only one. I mean, we have several personnel that do several tasks within that specific engine. So it's a group thing. It's a team thing, and I'm just a small part of it.
You remain in the Air Force Reserves right now, and so you're one weekend a month, and then you go on your 2 week training, which is what you're doing right now. Is that right?
Well, right now it's more of a TDY. It's an extended duty. Usually it's 1 week in a month, 15 days out of the year. But this is more of a TDY. It's an extra part of it. My current unit does these TDYs a couple of times out of the year. So I'm participating in one.
Okay. Subsequently, let's fast forward to today. Now, I know that you're a family man, that you have a wife and kids, and you have a good life, but you kind of gravitated to this area because you have a love of flight too. Was it a coincidence that you just happened to end up in this spot?
Well, it's a long story, but I initially back when I was young, I had a father figure who took me on a first flight to one of my. I used to love Texas A&M college. That's where I was going to go. That was the goal. But my father figure said not in his house. His house was a Texas Tech fan, so his idea was, hey, let me take you in my Cessna 210 and let's fly to Lubbock and show you how a real team plays. And from that day, not only did I fall in love with flying, I fell in love with tech and so on. And I started going to do aerospace engineering. I was taking basics at a community college there in Mount Pleasant, Texas. And once it's time for me to transfer, I had no idea. I had no guidance growing up as far as, hey, this is what you're going to do when you grow up. Here's where you're going to go to college. I was from a single parent, and her education level wasn't college education. So it was mainly, hey, just grow up to be a good man and have a good job, and that's what life's all about. And but I knew there was more that I wanted to do. So once I got my associates from East Texas Community College, give them a shout. I I looked around and somehow, some way, Laterno popped up. I lived in Mount Vernon, Texas, and never heard about Laterno University, and it popped up, and things worked. God worked in mysterious ways. Somehow, some way, my wife was able to find a job at Laterno at the same time that I got accepted through Laterno, and yeah, once I got to Laterno, my goal was to do aerospace engineering, just because I didn't know that, even though I didn't have the funding, that I could fly. You know, growing up, I assumed flying was for those with money, and I did not have it. So the closest thing I could do was aerospace engineer, which is what got me to where I am now in the Air Force. Is when when I was about 18, I joined the Air Force, and I just told them, hey, I wanted to do anything as close as I get to airplanes. And what I got was aircraft maintainer. And once I got to Laterno, I met a lot of instructors, and they were talking about their flight careers, and I didn't know Laterno had a flight program. And so it kind of just all fell in place. I swapped over to their flight program. I did air traffic control with professional flight, and left once I graduated, came back, did my master's degree. And yeah, so it's been an interesting career, in which a lot of it wasn't, I guess, planned out. It was kind of just trust in the Lord, kind of like what Proverbs 3:5-6 says. Hey, you know, just trust the Lord with all your heart, and do not rely on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. And essentially, that's what He did. He just got me to this place where I'm very grateful for. Uh, I I've worked hard, but never really known what I was going to attain. My initial goal was to become an airline pilot, and that's what I wanted to do since I was a kid, or since I took that first flight. And it's just, God's had a different path for me, and I've enjoyed every step of the way. It hasn't always been pretty, but I've always trusted that there was a plan, and here I am, and I'm hoping that I'm the, what
Okay.
the airport needs, and so on
It's a
and so on.
fascinating journey, actually. A couple of things to note here, and I'm going to give everybody a bit of an education. Many of you will remember Roy Miller was the longtime airport manager at East Texas Regional, and something of a tradition is being kept here because Roy himself was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam. So now it seems only appropriate that a fellow serviceman would take over at the reins as the airport manager. Now, if you do the math, you heard Max say 2011, okay? So you can take a look at him, and you can see he's not an old guy, but he does have a family. I'm not even going to give your age away here, Max, but he does have a family, and he has all of this experience, and he has something very important coming up too, which is he is going to become a commissioned officer at some point, and that is definitely a step up. You got to be excited about that.
Very excited. It's something that doesn't just pop up all of a sudden. You work towards it. There's a lot that you have to do to get into it. If you don't start from the beginning as in an academy, Air Force Academy or something like that. So it's a longer journey, but the fact that it's here, and I've been accepted, and my medical has been cleared is very exciting. But at the same time, it's a new journey. So sometimes change is scary, and there's a little fear factor to it, but most of it's excitement, just that a new journey, and just a new mission, I guess.
I did want to kind of explore this with. Do you feel like your military background is a definite asset, being an Air Force manager, an
Absolutely.
airport manager?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot about the military is about servitude, and just serving others, everything before yourself. And part of that has, I guess, built my character. To being an airport director, really it's not about the director, it's about the people, and serving the community, and stuff like that. So so I feel that's played a big role, and it's guided me to what I want to accomplish for the airport and what I want our our employees to accomplish, and so on and so on. So I believe the military has played a big role in building up my character, and then as far as obviously it's filled the resume and all those points, but the things that are more important is who it has built me to be as a person, and to serve and always serve others, and that's what I think has helped me the most.
You touched on the other thing that I was going to ask, which is, in a sense, you've served this country for all of these years in our military, and now you continue to serve, just in a different capacity, because it is public service. I mean, you're serving people that come to you dependent on your leadership for the safe running of an airport, which I can't imagine all of the elements that go into it, but I'm guessing there's a lot on your plate when you manage an airport.
Yeah, there's a little bit of everything. Everything from the bolt on a taxiway light to the grant money of millions of dollars plays a role in everything. So you just have to know a little bit about everything, and be able to trust that your employees care enough and will do their part and be successful in their areas. Therefore, the airport be a success. So it's a team. It's kind of like the military. It's as I was mentioning earlier. That aircraft doesn't fly with engines, but there's other components to it. Other personnel play a big role in it. I'm just a small part of it. As the airport director may have the title to as airport director, but I can't do anything without them. And hiring the right people, having the right people in your staff is very important, and building them up to be successful and believe in themselves is important as well. So that military plays a role in that. So it's the same thing, just that in a civilian part of it, and then just trying to build them up and have a successful airport, even if it's not DFW or Denver. We're still East Texas Regional Airport. We're proud of it, and we want to build it up. We're going to continue to build it and make it a destination that people are happy to fly out of, and so on.
And we will see you, I'm sure, many, many times out at the East Texas Regional Airport. Thank you.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
All right. So we will have much more on this story for KLTV Web Extra. I'm Bob Holmer.